In the past, a massive spaceship arrives on Earth and hovers over South Africa. For 3 months, there is no activity from the ship. As a result, the authorities decide to enter the ship and find a group of aliens inside who have long since run out of food and are exhausted from hunger. People derogatorily call these creatures prawns. According to rumors, a shuttle separated from the mothership and landed on Earth. However, no one can find it. Due to international pressure, the South African government places about 2 million prawns in a refugee camp called District 9. According to experts, these aliens make up the working class of their species. For this reason, it's rare for them to take action on their own unless they have a leader. Although the district is surrounded by soldiers and barbed wire, things are quite calm during the first months. It is also discovered that these aliens have a great fondness for cat food. But as time passes, people begin to revolt. Because instead of taking care of its own people, the government spends too many resources on the aliens. Thus, District 9 turns into a complete shantytown, and public xenophobia steadily increases. Moreover, the fact that the aliens see acts of violence like burning vehicles merely as entertainment makes things even worse. Eventually, the district becomes extremely overcrowded and turns into a haven for all kinds of crime. During this period, the warlord Obasanjo establishes a massive black market in District 9. Everything from female workers to arms smuggling can be found here. The aliens' technology is highly advanced. However, human hands are not suited to operate their weapons. 28 years later, the tension between the aliens and the local population reaches such a point that the government is forced to bow to public pressure and decides to move the camp to a remote, desolate area far from the city. For this task, they make a deal with a weapons manufacturer called Multinational United. Mr. Smith, the manager of Multinational United, appoints his relative Wikus to lead this relocation operation. A group of mercenaries is also assigned to Wikus for his security. Additionally, these soldiers will be used to forcibly remove any aliens who resist the relocation. Wikus's assistant and a cameraman also join the team to document the entire process. While preparations are underway, Wikus becomes uneasy when he sees the heavy weapons brought by the mercenaries. However, Colonel Venter humiliates him, saying he just has to put up with it. They enter the area with a convoy full of vehicles. As the mercenaries try to get past the barricades, several aliens attack. In response, the soldiers fire back and kill them. Meanwhile, Wikus goes from house to house, getting the aliens to sign the evacuation documents. Sometimes he uses cat food to persuade them. While some aliens agree to cooperate, others refuse to leave their homes and resist. As a result, despite Wikus's objections, the mercenaries use force to remove them. Inside one house, they come across alien eggs lined up from wall to wall. After showing them to the camera, Wikus orders a soldier to burn the eggs. The shantytown is also filled with many pieces of alien technology hidden away. The mercenaries confiscate these as well and hand them over to the Multinational United. Even though they haven't figured out the technology yet, they continue to run tests on it. Meanwhile, an alien named Christopher, along with his son CJ, and his friend Paul are trying to collect a special fluid from broken pieces of alien technology discarded among the trash. CJ finally finds a piece after 20 years. The group excitedly takes it home and, moving it to a secret technology room, synthesizes the fluid there. They fill the fluid into a silver cylinder and get ready to continue with their plans. But just then, Wikus and his team knock on the door. Christopher and CJ immediately run to their own home, and after hiding the cylinder, Paul goes outside to confront the humans. When Paul refuses to cooperate, the mercenaries quickly pin him to the ground and point their guns at him. Meanwhile, Wikus starts searching the house. He finds a cylinder next to many weapons. When he accidentally activates the cylinder, the fluid sprays onto his face. Wikus, who has seized the cylinder, tries to question Paul. However, Paul grabs a soldier and throws him into his own house, then hurls Wikus onto a burning barrel. Just then, Venter arrives with reinforcements and instantly kills Paul. Wikus, on the other hand, realizes that his arm is burnt. After the initial intervention, he continues his duty and finally reaches Christopher's house. He offers candy to CJ, but CJ throws the candy back in his face. This reaction angers the people. Christopher is forced to kneel and the house search begins. Inside, various pieces of equipment are found. While examining the surroundings, Wikus suddenly vomits a strange liquid and starts to feel dizzy. Upon this, the team decides to take him away for now. However, while stopping for a meal on the way, Wikus's nose starts to bleed. Back at the office, as he writes his reports, his symptoms worsen significantly. He keeps coughing and his fingernails begin to peel off from his fingers. At the same time, Christopher and CJ search the area to find the cylinder, but are disappointed when they see it is missing. Meanwhile, some aliens trade their battle armor to Obasanjo in exchange for a large amount of cat food. However, one of the men kills an alien and uses its flesh for food. Obasanjo believes that in order to use the aliens' weapons, he himself must also turn into a prawn. That's why he has hired sorcerers and shamans. According to them, anyone who eats alien flesh can transform. But so far, none of the attempts have been successful. After a while, Wikus returns home. His wife Tanya has prepared a surprise party to celebrate his promotion. Although Wikus tries to put on a friendly face for the guests, he is feeling worse and worse. Eventually, he runs to the bathroom and throws up. When the cake is cut, he vomits again and then faints. The next morning, he wakes up in the hospital. The doctor unwraps the bandages on Wikus's burned arm and he is confronted with a horrifying reality. Wikus's hand has turned into an alien claw. Horrified, the doctor immediately calls the multinational United. Soldiers arrive shortly after and, ignoring Tanya's desperate pleas for answers, put Wikus in a bag and take him away. In the laboratory, they find the cylinder Wikus had hidden in his pocket and confiscate it as well. After this, Wikus is placed at the center of ruthless experiments. He is asked to test alien technologies. In shock, he realizes that his new hand possessing alien DNA is able to operate these weapons. They force him to fire at targets. Finally, he is ordered to kill an alien. This shatters Wikus's soul. After the experiments are over, the scientists and executives, including Smith, decide to kill Wikus. Before he fully transforms into an alien, they plan to harvest his organs and blood, aiming to create soldiers who can use alien weapons thanks to the perfect balance of human and alien DNA. Wikus is horrified when he hears this. He grabs a scalpel, attacks those around him, takes someone hostage, and manages to escape from the lab without being shot. Mercenaries are ordered to capture him. Meanwhile, Smith meets with Tanya and distorts the truth when telling her what happened. Wikus, on the other hand, hides out on the streets. He steals clothes from clotheslines, snatches a phone from a child, rummages through trash to find food, and tries to hide his claw. He calls his friends and family to ask for help, but everyone rejects him. He learns the reason when he enters a shop. He sees on the news that he has been declared a fugitive carrying a contagious disease because he had contact with aliens. As everyone in the shop runs away from him, Wikus realizes he has no other choice and takes refuge in District 9. Here, he searches for food and finally finds a can of cat food, which he starts eating eagerly. However, he soon realizes that he is also starting to lose his teeth. At that moment, he receives a phone call from Tanya. Tanya tells him that she is now disgusted by him and never wants him in her life again. Before Wikus can explain, the call is disconnected. Despairing over winning his wife back, Wikus grabs an axe in an attempt to get rid of the claw on his hand. But Wikus is so nervous that he can only cut off one of his fingers. When the pain becomes unbearable, he can't continue. At that moment, the mercenaries' helicopters begin to sweep the area. Wikus runs into a house to hide and there he encounters Christopher. He notices Christopher's secret room, but due to his wound, he faints from blood loss. When he wakes up, he finds himself in the rumored shuttle hidden beneath Christopher's house. When Wikus says he no longer has the cylinder, Christopher and CJ explain that the liquid is necessary to restart the mothership and can also power a machine that could reverse Wikus's transformation. However, retrieving the cylinder is almost impossible, because the mercenaries would kill them instantly. Wikus spends the next hours enduring the painful transformation of his body. His skin peels off and his torso begins to change. Suddenly, he receives a call from Tanya. This time, Tanya tells him that she will take him back and be more understanding. But in reality, it's a trap. The multinational force used Tanya to trick Wikus and find out his location. Meanwhile, CJ tells Christopher how much he misses his home. Christopher reminds him that they can't go anywhere without the fluid and that they need to go to the new settlement. Wikus hears this and feels sad. He explains that the new area is even worse than here and that going there would be a huge mistake. Wikus says he has a plan, both to help the aliens and to return to his wife in a better condition. With this, Wikus goes to Obasanjo's headquarters and tries to buy weapons. However, there he is met with contempt and violence. As the men push him around, they notice the transformation on his body and Obasanjo orders them to cut off his claw and bring it to him. Wikus tries to resist the men and finds an alien weapon on the ground. He immediately grabs the weapon and starts shooting. The power of the weapon is incredible. He kills several men instantly. Taking advantage of the opportunity, Wikus grabs a bag full of weapons and escapes. Meanwhile, the mercenaries reach Christopher's shack but find it empty, because Christopher and Wikus have blown up the entrance gate and infiltrated the multinational United base. When they get inside, they neutralize a few soldiers, reach the laboratory, and finally find the cylinder. However, Christopher sees many aliens who have been killed in experiments conducted in the laboratory. Paul is among them. He is so shocked by the sight that he becomes unable to move. This gives the mercenaries a chance to catch up to them and open fire. Vicus returns fire, killing many soldiers, and reminds Christopher that CJ is waiting for him. These words help Christopher pull himself together. Christopher uses scrap materials in the laboratory to make a bomb, which he uses to blow a hole in the wall. Vicus and Christopher quickly escape, steal a multinational United vehicle, and set off toward District 9. But Venter and his men are in pursuit. When they arrive home, CJ begins loading the fluid into the shuttle. At this moment, Christopher confesses something to Vicus. The fluid will not be enough to power both the shuttle and the healing machine. That's why he says that for now, he can only power the shuttle and that he will return in 3 years to fully heal Vicus. Overcome with anger, Vicus knocks Christopher out and boards the shuttle. At that moment, CJ finishes loading the fluid and the shuttle starts working again. Desperate, Vicus tries to use the shuttle's systems when Venter arrives and threatens to kill Christopher. Just then, the ground starts to shake. Venter and Christopher go outside. Meanwhile, the shuttle begins to lift off from the ground. But it's quite unstable. Venter orders his men to open fire and a launched missile destroys one of the shuttle's engines. Thus, Christopher is forced to watch his last hope crash to the ground before his eyes. Afterwards, Venter's men capture both Christopher and Vicus and load them into their vehicles. But suddenly, Obasanjo's gang appears and ambushes Venter's convoy. The gang members open fire and engage in a shootout with the mercenaries. In the end, they capture Vicus and escape, leaving Christopher behind. Meanwhile, CJ works on the shuttle panel and manages to reactivate the mothership. At the gang's base, Vicus is taken to the shamans. They attempt to perform a ritual using his claw. However, CJ activating the mothership also triggers all the alien technologies. Among these is a combat suit hidden in the gang's base. The suit scans the surroundings and identifies Vicus as an alien ally. It perceives Obasanjo's men as human enemies. It immediately opens fire and wipes out Obasanjo and the entire gang. Meanwhile, while some of the mercenaries interrogate Christopher again, the others go after Vicus. Desperate, Vicus dons the combat suit and confronts them. When he sees that the mercenaries have captured Christopher, he first offers a trade, saying he will give them Christopher in exchange for his own freedom. However, when he hears that Venter has ordered Christopher to be killed, he changes his mind. Overcome with rage, Vicus begins to mercilessly kill the mercenaries to save Christopher. Then, together with Christopher, they run toward the shuttle. But as more mercenaries pursue them, Vicus stays behind to buy Christopher some time. Although Christopher invites him to his own planet, Vicus refuses to go. In response, Christopher promises him that he will return in 3 years and cure him. Vicus continues to mercilessly kill the mercenaries around him. As he covers everything in blood, he hurls an oncoming vehicle into the air and even fires a few missiles. Just as he's about to shoot Venter, a vehicle crashes into him from behind and Vicus is thrown to the ground. His armor starts to malfunction. At that moment, Christopher connects with the mothership from the shuttle's control panel and initiates the shuttle's retrieval. A huge beam from the mothership pulls the shuttle upward. Thus, Christopher and CJ manage to escape. Seeing this, Venter is overcome with rage and orders another missile to be fired. Vicus immediately intervenes, using his armor to catch the missile. The missile explodes and blows off his left arm. Venter opens fire on the armor, completely destroying it. Vicus crawls out. His left eye is swollen and has turned yellow. In other words, his transformation is almost complete. Venter points his weapon at him and prepares to kill him. But just then, a group of aliens appears and kills Venter, saving Vicus. Now they see Vicus as one of their own. After a while, humans celebrate the departure of the mothership from Earth. Vicus's assistant exposes the illegal experiments conducted by the multinational United. The government safely relocates 2.5 million aliens to the new area and demolishes the old District 9. Although Vicus's story becomes famous, over time people stop talking about him and assume he is dead. But Tanya is sure that he is still alive, because she finds a handmade metal flower at her door. She knows that Vicus has always loved making such handcrafted things. In the junkyard, it is revealed that Vicus is alive and has now completely transformed into an alien. He continues to make new metal flowers from scrap.